Call to order the meeting of the City of Kingman Municipal Utilities Commission. Roll call.
Chairman Burgett and Commissioner Van Zandt are excused. Vice Chair Parker.
Here.
Commissioner Orr. Here. Commissioner Shuffler. Here. Commissioner Retberg.
Here.
Commissioner Yarish.
Here.
And Council Liaison is absent. We have a quorum.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from July 25th?
Yes.
Any discussion on the minutes? We have a motion for approval.
Motion for approval of the minutes from July.
Okay, got a motion. Do we have a second? Okay. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, the ayes carry. Okay. Consideration of public comments. We don't have anybody here from the general public. Okay. Item 2. We'll go on to item 3, new business. Okay, so we've got a review and recommendation from Benetti Builders, LLC, for a sewer variance for 1704 Florence Avenue, engineering 19-0084. Greg Benetti of Benetti Builders, LLC, has submitted the request for a sewer variance for development of a single-family home at 1904 Florence Avenue. The property is a corner lot with frontage on both Florence Avenue and Western Avenue. So, Greg, you've got a little bit of history there for us.
As stated there, staff has received a request from Greg Benetti of Benetti Builders regarding parcel 311-14151, which is also known as 1704 Florence Avenue. It is a corner lot with about 50 feet of frontage on Florence Avenue and about 100 feet of frontage on Western Avenue. There's an existing 8-inch sewer main that crosses the frontage of the property in Florence Avenue. There's an existing 6-inch water main also crosses the frontage of the property in Florence Avenue. And what this is about is there's a section 7.2 in the utility regulations that states that whenever any property develops, they have to extend utilities across the entire frontage of the property that's being served. So staff provided an opinion that since there's not an existing sewer line in Western Avenue at this time, that one should be made in conjunction with this development. And there are some, I'll pull up the regulations on this. There's really only the one main issue on this is, well, I'll just read, this is 7.2. It says a public water or sewer extension shall be required to extend across the total frontage of the property to be served. In instances where the topography, location, or surroundings engineering design shows that water or sewer line cannot be extended further to serve additional properties, then the city engineer may allow the developer to end the line without crossing the total frontage. And staff did not take that opinion here because of this item A. Item A states that the line must be constructed to provide for any extensions to property that can be developed. So if I go back to the map here now, in our opinion, there's 2 properties that can be developed. There's this vacant property on the west side of Western, and also the vacant property immediately south of the subject lot that has frontage on both Western and Seal that could benefit from sewer extension in Western. So I think that is the gist of the request. Mr. Benetti is here. He has appealed his decision through the Utility Commission. And that's essentially the background information. I'm happy to try and answer
So staff is suggesting that the extension be made all the way around on the Western Avenue.
That's correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
You have comments from our planning and zoning department, and that's the engineer recommendation as well.
I read part of the fall on the other side. It was not a corner lot across. Can a sewer hook up the one across the street? I haven't gone over and looked at that lot. Does that lot fall away, or does it go up to where you can actually get in?
It should be able to connect to that sewer. It is sloping from south to north.
I got a question. So on the map, is the lines in the green, is that the sewer? And then the lines in the purple is that water?
Yes. Our lines are color coded based on size. So the solid green line in Florence is an 8-inch sewer. Blue line in Western is a 12-inch water line. So 6-inch across the road, and then it necks down to something to leave. So, but the water's not in question. It's mainly the sewer extension.
What is that line on Lucille that comes up towards Western?
That's a water line.
It is a water line.
Yeah.
So do we know who the owners are that own those lots there between LaSalle and Western off of Lucille?
We might be able to look them up. I did not, in my write-up, note the owners of those properties. Pull up the ownership here. So,
Just curious if
did in fact, see, we did in fact receive so this was posted in the paper, we did in fact receive a public comment from a Mr. John Collins, indicating that he owns 311-14-76E and 311-14-76L, part owner of 303-01. So let's compare that. I'm not sure exactly where his property. Okay, so he in fact is, according to email, part owner of property on the side of this. And basically his email, he had called our office to indicate I was in favor of seeing an extension. Requiring the sewer extension in Western.
Where is the closest? Oh, there you go. You just
Right
answered.
there.
There is a sewer in Florence, and I believe Kathy, there was no paybacks on any of the water or sewer. So,
Is there a way to have some of the vacant lots that are then becoming developable subsidize the cost for that line?
it would have to be by separate third-party agreement, Mr. Benetti. So
It's not something the city can, like how they annex some places and say we're putting in the sewer and just assessing the people in the area. Not something that can be done that way.
Typically not when it involves.
Yeah.
So the termination of the sewer on Florence stops at the corner of Western. Do we have any history on that as far as when that was extended? Or I notice it doesn't wrap onto Western to extend the sewer onto that property, similar to what we're requesting from them.
So I believe this was extended. There's 3 houses on the north side of Florence there, and they extended that sewer. Due to topography, there was no reason for them to extend that sewer north Western Avenue. Slope was just going the opposite direction.
Gotcha. So it wasn't feasible for anybody to extend on to that in the future.
They extended it across their frontage at that time, and then based on that exception topography that read out of section 7.2, there was no reason to extend that.
So if somebody wanted to develop the parcel ending in 154 on the corner of Lucille and Western and have sewer brought to it, they would have to bring it from the end of Florence there all the way down.
That's correct.
And cross their frontage and incur those costs.
There is a sewer east in LaSalle. They would be over the 500-foot threshold at that point, so they would come down Western.
Gotcha.
So just out of curiosity, it looks like is it a newer house there? Is that Lucille? What is the road that's just south of Lucille, between Lucille and Pasadena? Like a house was extended and the sewer was out in front on that road. That road does not have a name, and I'm just curious why they didn't go around the corner there to service that.
Right there.
This house here on the screen, the
Further south?
the large house 003.
So we're talking south of Lucille, between Lucille and Pasadena. It looks like, is that a road or is that
So there's an alley there, and they
Is that an
extended the
alley?
sewer in the alley. Yeah, and for the same reason, property on the north side of Florence didn't extend. That sewer is just going the wrong way to extend north in Western Avenue, bring it around the corner.
So really at this time, the only viable option for sewer to those properties off of Western and say Lucille and across from there is to come from that point on Florence and up to it.
Yeah, for property 154 and for the property on the west side of Western 6 there, that is.
Sewer's running west, flowing east on Florence, Steel. So, standing sewer on west, really overkill. You're going to be able to add all those parcels on the north side of the steel are going to be able to tap into sewer tail through sewer west. And then on the west side of Western, you're going to be able to access sewer either on Florence or Lucille. Why would you have a sewer line running north, south, western, access to sewer, Lucille, and Florence?
You may not like to speak, but again,
What's the frontage on those lots through there? Is that 50 foot?
yes.
50 foot?
Yeah, and the parcel immediately south, 154, they would be outside the 500-foot threshold to the next closest sewer, which is over east in LaSalle. That might happen.
So we would just be 300 foot, right, with that furthest lot? If they were to decide to develop that, aren't we 250 foot to sewer?
No, it's 500 for a new home. It's 250 for repairing an existing.
For repair. Thank you for that clarification. Okay.
Here's a little. Here's a bit of. Shows the sewer. So these LaSalle. So here's the subject lot. Here's Lucille, and here's the lot on the corner. These blocks are 600. So they are more than 500 feet from the existing sewer in LaSalle. So
More than 500 foot? I thought, are they 50 foot frontage?
yes,
Wouldn't that be 300 foot there?
no, the blocks are 600.
Oh, okay.
So the lots that are to the west of Western, that I'm assuming those are subdividable in the future too? Somebody wanted to develop that?
As long as if they subdivide, they have to extend sewer regardless of the distance. Maybe able to parcel plat it out some lots without actually subdividing them, in case if they were 500 feet extend sewer in certain.
Dilemma.
So at this time, he would be asked to extend the sewer only is what it would need
That's correct.
to be concerned with?
What is that additional frontage there? Is that 120 foot?
I believe it's
100 foot.
plus whatever the distance in Florence to extend the sewer. So,
My only concern would be to deviate from that ordinance and make somebody else responsible for extending that in the future when it is a viable option.
Mm-hmm.
Would not seem fair to have them take that extra footage in their costs.
Yeah, to me it seems like the normal way of taking it would be down Lucille and then abut it there or end it there at Western, and that sewer line would then accommodate all of those lots coming through Lucille. But it's hard to say when and timely, chronological, when they're going to be developed. And I think that's the dilemma. Is it a common owner? Did you find out if that's a common owner or are they individual owners coming through there?
on the south side of the seal.
Yeah, or on the north. Yeah, on the north side of Lucille.
Yeah, I did research
Okay. Further questions for Mr. Henry? Bring Mr. Benetti up so he can let us know what he thinks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Allowing me time. I guess he's saying that it's 500 feet, so 500 feet limit, I guess that's standard. The law, I understand. It seems like it's getting the cart before the horse, because you've got sewer running east, west, Florence, and on Lucille. Just that whole north side of Lucille, I've written letters to all the residents that haven't got much response back from the big parcel there. They can tap to the sewer there at Lucille, run it all the way to Louise, and that would eliminate having to have the sewer on Western, I would think. And that would address parcel across west side of Western, because they would be able to tap sewer both on Lucille and Florence. And that's just an inevitability there, because that whole south side of the street is already developed with brand new construction.
I think parcel 206 is actually still close enough to sewer to where they would have to still do sewer themselves. Is that correct?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Well, I was asking Mr. Henry.
Yeah, they would be within 5.
So I'm assuming, is Western where it dead ends right there at Gates Avenue? Is it pretty deep right there? Is that why it stopped right where it's at? Is it too? Yeah, the existing sewer. So it,
Stops in Florence, essentially at the eastern right of
I'm sorry, say that one more time. It stops Western Avenue. The sewer there stops where?
essentially the eastern right of way line. I think that's a requirement.
Do you know the depth of the sewer right there on Florence and Western? What the depth will be? Pretty shallow.
4 foot, what we measure. That's to the top of the pipe. They're wanting 8-inch pipe, and have to be below it.
Is this 301 or 30301 206, which is the property on the west side of Western? Is that like one big parcel there? Is that one big lot? I would think that if that was ever developed, one possibility would be that the developer would divide it up, subdivide it, and then he would be able to perhaps spread the cost out to a number of lots instead of just like Greg is having to incur the cost for it all himself. And what I see here is the main beneficiary of this sewer extension is that 30301 So I understand the dilemma here. You're being required to essentially put the bill for the future development there, which may or may not happen. That's not in our, I guess, not our responsibility to figure out if this development will ever happen or not. Maybe not ever in our lifetime. But I think one thing that could be said in your favor, Greg, is at least that developer would, if he had to incur the cost himself, let's say we gave a variance here, and he did have to incur the cost himself, at least he would be spreading it out over several lots, unless perhaps he just wanted to have a 7-acre parcel to himself. Well, still, it's just, it would make sense to me that you're spreading the cost out over more land. 7 acres versus what, 75 by 100 lot. So I think that's, I'm never one to go against the rules and regulations, but there's always an exception out there, no matter what. There's going to be exceptions. And even if we were to approve to grant this waiver, your battle's only half won. You guys still have to go before the city council, and you're going to have to present this same argument. So if this, we can talk about this, but if this commission were to decide to grant the variance, I would say it would be based on that premise that a future developer sometime, maybe not even in our lifetime, would be spreading this cost out over 7 acres versus 1/3 of an acre.
Well, I think that last lot there, I think 311-14-154, if they were to decide to develop that lot, they're far enough from sewer at the corner of, where am I? Of LaSalle and Lucille, to where they would then not have sewer and they would have to take it from the nearest point, which means that they would have to run it along your property boundary. So that would be the dilemma, I think, more so than the other parcel, because if they were to develop that, they would be within that zone as far as having to be close enough to sewers where they could.
When the market was high, get the property. So, and he's a Havasu resident. I've sent him letters. He's pretty adamant about getting at least the price that he paid for in 2007.
Which they could,
So he's not going to be doing anything near term.
you're talking 154?
Yeah.
You're talking 154.
The corner lot on Lucille and Western, yeah. I've sent him letters. I've sent everybody letters along that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I realized the ordinance, and I thought, well, if I could buy those lots, then I would
That would be
extend
easier.
the sewer sale.
Mm-hmm.
Go that way.
Is there any time an agreement can be made, a gentleman's agreement, to where, I mean, it would have to be a written agreement and would have to go in front of the city attorney with regards to development of that. But at such a time, 154 is the big one I see, just because of the distance to the sewer. And that would be the odd person out. There's never a guarantee that wouldn't be unless you had a guarantee in writing, and then the sewer would be then extended if that were the sole lot. And then 149A and those lots between Western and LaSalle then were developed. Is that correct? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, there's no guarantee that.
Correct.
So, excuse me, we probably already went over this, but lot 154 is not, cannot hook up to a sewer extension on Lucille.
The sewer is back on LaSalle, right? So we said that distance on that block is
Well, that's the
600
water
foot.
line, that's not the water. Okay, all right.
Or it's in the alley behind.
Yeah, so that
Alley behind
distance is
Lucille.
600 foot, so they would be safeguarded as far as not hooking up to sewer, and that lot really isn't big enough to put on a septic, nor do we want them to put on a septic. So I think the dilemma is always then they are having to chase on your lot or chase the opposite direction, depending on which direction they go. But they have to then,
They just
that
chase.
sewer in.
They'd have to chase to the alley probably.
I think the
Behind
distance is
Lucille.
probably still the same.
No, the alley behind Lucille, behind that big house that was built, all those houses.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they'd probably have to chase to.
Is that closer?
Yeah, it's probably one whole house width closer, so 100 feet closer.
154. They would be within 500 feet of the sewer line. Florence. Choose to make that.
Right. 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 Yeah. Any further questions for Mr. Benetti?
So if he did develop that and extend that sewer, and 154 wanted to extend onto their lot and tie into that, would he be entitled to some sort of payback on that extension?
Mm-hmm.
I've done these before. I did a development, Harlow Acres, 07. Sold that to housing. Did one in the early 90s off of Railroad. About 30 ones. Usually I try to get everybody I can by everybody before I start doing it. Yeah. Actually, my son went and bought this lot. We didn't realize there was a city ordinance. We didn't even know it existed. Just a suggestion to the city council, I was council, it was the utility. Must be some way to give us all the red light, make us know that's there, because we're all just discovering it after the fact, after the months. This problem exists in the city ordinance, not hardly any of us are aware of the city.
Mhm.
So I don't think that's fair real estate disclosure law. Not to have everything disclosed.
Mhm.
Sale transaction.
Well, I think that is outside the city, though, right?
Well, I think the city has a collective effort, my own opinion, to help us all understand that new ordinance. We can't keep up with city ordinances, the typical person. It would be helpful if we had some way, and we get a new title, to know that issue exists.
Mhm.
And most of us don't know it's even exists until after we go file for a permit.
How long has that ordinance been in place, Greg?
40 years.
I'm-
I know it was applied to past to.
Yeah. That was 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years.
Did you say 40 years?
Yeah, this rule hasn't changed.
And the rule to me makes sense just because, the sewers fall on your property. If 154 looked to extend that sewer, then they would have to manipulate it around your property. And, I think to me, it makes sense. It's kind of a user-friendly. It's kind of the pain in the butt with this situation because you've got a corner lot.
Yeah.
And I agree as far as disclosures. I don't know if it's the city's responsibility to disclose it. Realtors work, and there's title people out there that also are involved with closing these deals, and they could be more informative, I think. I get that.
I've been doing this a long time. I've never gotten go ahead and do research, go check with plan and zoning before I bought a lot, see if there was something. Never had that. No. See if it was there.
Or at least understand what's required before you go to build a house. I think that's always a good thing to know. Do your research before.
Well, it's a tremendous expense in this because nobody's gonna do that for less than probably 25, 30 grand for that sewer extension on that little residential lot. Doesn't pencil to build it. So somebody really needs to know that before they get involved in something. That's a huge expense, and especially it's hard if we dug on that lot there, and it's hard. It gets real hard about 25, 30 feet after you get, and you try to get down to 4 foot down there. It's all cleachy. So it's going to take a big hammer mill or some pretty good sized equipment to cut into that cleachy. Everybody says it's granite. It's not. It's granite. It's just cleachy. I know I've been in the stuff.
Right.
And on the golf course, just harder than a rock cleachy. What the stuff is. Tough to get through.
I understand. Lots of rocks down in there. So do we have a motion or further discussion?
All right, one more. Only kind of slow grasping this thing. How would you get sewer to the corner lot 311, 14, 154 if this extension is not done?
What's that again?
Okay, the lot on the other corner there, Lucille and Western, that lot,
Yeah.
154.
Yeah.
How would you get sewer to that if your extension is not done? How would they get
Well,
sewer?
eventually, all those, I've talked to some of the owners on the north side, and they're negotiating some of those lots now, getting some negotiation. But that's going to go, and I can probably give you 100% assurance, man, right now, that all's going to happen. happen. That sewer's going to get extended down east, or Lucille. It's going to happen fairly soon. So,
I got a question. Greg, I don't know that we've asked this yet, but so sewer right now is on Florence, and I'm assuming that, is it 161D and C are connected to sewer, but it looks like, are they extending that sewer in front of 150 and 151 that would also be inclusive of 161C and D? Is that correct? Would there be paybacks on that?
There was no payback.
no, it's that 7 year, it's past that 7
I thought it was 20, yeah.
years. Yeah.
Can I back up on something? I think we addressed this already. Greg made a statement that there's not enough fall to bring that sewer back to LaSalle on Lucille to reach that corner lot that's in question right now. The only viable option is to go across Western, across to your frontage property to get to the sewer.
See, I've talked to, disagree on that. I've talked with Trico Engineering, and they say that as far as I can tell from their comments, there's no issue there.
So they've gone out and done the research on this?
There is a good fall.
So the sewer could be extended.
Okay. Okay, I misunderstood you then. That's my-
First option.
So the sewer's been extended all the way to Western, and that's where we sit right now, right? So it's really just along Western, really, that he would be required to put in. Is there a manhole there at that corner?
There's a small, it's a small cleanout.
It's really has the dash line. Go further west.
So sewer has been extended, 161, 161D and C has already extended that sewer to where it's accommodating your frontage already. Is that correct? Is that what I'm looking at? So there's no payback there anyways, right? So sewer's available. It's been installed by someone there on the frontage already. I guess when I was first looking at it, I was thinking that you were going to have to install on the frontage there off of Florence and then come around the side there on Western too. Excuse me.
See that that parcel, that large parcel Western, is going to probably be golf course frontage there. Probably golf course. And it's my argument they're going to have access both on Seal and Lawrence. I think getting horse before the park there, putting sewer down Western. Really not needed. I think it's going to probably be a ghost line that the city's going to end up having maintenance on. It's going to go on for generations and nobody will ever tap in. It'll just sit there idle. That's my argument. Also, I don't think it's ever going to be utilized.
Right.
I mean, the marketplace, the pressure on development, supply and demand is all showing pressure on Lucille. That's going to get developed on the north side of the street. If it happens in 6 months or 9 months, I don't know, but I would anticipate next 3-4 quarters it probably will probably get going.
I think from what I'm seeing, I think 154 would be the one that would scare me.
That's
Is
the
if-
problem.
Yeah. In 6 months, if they decide to develop that, sell it, and somebody developed that, then we would be without sewer right there from where we stood if we didn't have that sewer wrap around your property.
one of the easier ones we've
I know.
You've got some valid points. We understand that. It's just being fair to 154. If they decide to do something, it's
Appreciate your consideration.
Yes, thank you very much.
thank you.
No. Anybody entertain?
Yeah, speak.
Oh,
Can I speak?
yes, can you introduce yourself, sir?
My name is Ted Parks. I live over in that neighborhood. I live on Gulf Drive. I know Barry, of course. I know that lot. And in my opinion, that sewer line was money from Mr. Municipal. I don't see anybody else using it either. My understanding, in order for him to fail on his petition for exceptions, he has to show there's no detriment to the public safety, health, and welfare. I live in that neighborhood. I don't see any detriment. Mr. Benetti not put the sewer line. He doesn't. He has sewer in front of the house for the lot he's going to build on, but he doesn't need that sewer line. I don't see anybody else using it either. Across the street there on Western, that's a big parcel, and that basically is a rock valve. That's hard digging there. I don't see that developing anytime soon. I don't see any benefit to anyone on this thing. Actually, I think there's a detriment to the city because they're going to have to maintain that water for that sewer line. And I just don't see any benefit to anybody. I see the detriment to the city having to maintain that road. I don't see any detriment to the public safety, health, welfare, that's good. So I'd ask you guys to rule in favor of Brandon's petition. It's going to be very expensive to put in that sewer line too. And this lot's not worth that much. It's not fair, it's not equitable, and I'd ask you to grant the raise.
Thank you very much.
You've got 154.
Yeah.
154.
I guess I have a little problem assuming what the owners of those properties are going to do or not do in the future. I mean, it may be a tough build, it may be expensive, but the market may warrant it at some point, and they may decide to go forward with it and be able to use that sewer, or especially 154. And it could be, next quarter when they develop Lucille, it could not happen for years, and the market could change, and they decide to do something. So it's tough to be fair to them and not go with this existing ordinance, and then have them decide to develop, and that extension's not there, and they're required to pay to do it.
I know.
So here's a tactic for you guys, and I hope I'm not sounding facetious, but if in fact you feel that Lucille will be developed and that sewer line will be extended, well, just wait around until it is extended, and then come back, and then we've lost half our argument. We have sewer to 154, and it would be tougher to deny this request, because that is, you're right, that's the one problem I see is that lot 154. So I don't know.
Is there any way to allow for a shorter distance across the whole property, or is that not feasible because of the ordinance? To where it's like half or 3/4 to make the burden cost of doing it cheaper?
Yeah, could we do an amendment on what's required? Yeah, because if sewer's been there and it's in the frontage, I mean, I think it would be feasible to at least maybe meet 154 in the middle, and go halfway.
Or
It's a grand idea.
Is there any input available from those property owners of 154 or west of Western on 206? Have you had communication with any of them, or is there any?
Sent letters, I've never gotten a response. Greg, has the city ever been sued for, and I'm talking about that guy on 154. We turn around and not put the sewer line in there, and then he comes back up next day, whether he wants a permit or not, and sues the city for that. Is that feasible? It's never, ever happened. So it's not anything to even think about.
I don't think they'd sue the city, they'd sue the Muck Commission.
Personally.
See, and herein lies the problem with giving these exceptions. Once you open the floodgate, giving exceptions, I could just see, my brother got stung on a corner lot. He had to run sewer around, the whole corner. And, if anybody should have known better, he should have. But it's just that's life. I mean, life isn't always fair. And I can imagine if I voted, I'll be honest with you guys. If I voted to grant you guys a waiver and my brother found out about it, he'd be pissed. He would. Because actually he talked to both of us about doing this, and we said, don't even bother coming here because we can't bend the rules. Even though you're my brother, I can't, well, I'd have to recluse myself anyway, but,
I don't see a way around it, personally.
I don't either.
To be fair to them, even though I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think in fairness to 154 and 206, they're just because of what may or may not happen with them. I think I'd have to make a motion not to do the variance.
Is that where we want to go with it? I hear a motion not to go with the variance. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against the motion say nay. Okay. Those in favor carries. Okay.
so let me just,
This is
we had one of these come up with Bob England, and Bob England was denied. Actually, we granted him the variance like 2 years ago. He went to the city denied it after we granted the variance. Well, Bob came back like 2 years later. Was it 2 years later?
Yeah.
And the conditions changed, and we again granted him the variance, and the city council granted him the variance. If you're just stuck with this, and I see the problem when you have a lot that's, say, I'm just throwing out 20 grand for a lot, 30 grand to run the sewer, it doesn't pencil out. But I mean, if you're stuck with this thing, just wait a couple of years. I mean, you probably can't sell it and disclose with full disclosure of the problems the lot has. Well, there's an option. Wait a couple of years and see if this sewer is developed down Lucille. Come back.
I think Commissioner Orr made a good point on that, because if you're that confident too that it's going to come up Lucille that soon, then the time frame is very minimal as far as waiting on something like that. Mm-hmm. I understand the market's hot and you want to get it developed and go while it is, but you may not have to incur that cost if it does end up coming up on those developed lots on Lucille, and they can just tie in there and it's unnecessary all the way around. But in the meantime, we're not overstepping our bounds with somebody that potentially might come in and want to develop that lot and extend that sewer and then be required to go down in front of your frontage property. Mm-hmm.
developer has that's never just grandfathered.
Thank you for coming in. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, on to item 4, announcements by commission members. Does anybody have any announcements? Workshops that we've been to that you want to make any announcements? No? Nope. Okay. On to item 5. Anybody have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Anybody second that?
Second.
Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Motion carries.
I read it.
That was fun.
That was tough.
You know, that was tough.
I really do feel for the guy, but we got to be fair too.